Car rental owners to install Global Positioning System or GPS following the arrest of the alleged mastermind behind the rent-sangla scheme in Laguna. Leah Ilagan tells us why.
The PNP Highway Patrol Group nabs anew the alleged brains behind the rent-sangla scheme that prey on car rental owners. PNP HPG captured Rafaela Anunciacion last August 25 after she was ordered arrested by the Regional Trial Court Branch 284 for stop and swindling charges. Anunciacion has been out on bail after she was first arrested by authorities last year for cases related to the rent-sangla scheme that she allegedly orchestrated to target rent-a-car businesses in Metro Manila, Southern and Central Luzon.
Hindi na nila kinakarnap kumbaga sa usap na lang tayo, rentahan namin yung sakyan, ito yung amount, bayaran kunwari, after a while, takbo na yung sakyan. So there is a consent between yung nagpapasangla sa kayo magsasangla. Kaya lumalabas na estafa lang.
Anunciacion Group has been blamed for the increasing number of vehicles taken under scam. In 2017, the PNP HPG was able to recover around 608 vehicles, 514 of which has been returned to its owners while 94 remains impounded for lack of claimants. 29 other vehicles were also recovered from January to August this year. The PNP HPG calls on the victims to file a consolidated syndicated estafa complaint against Anunciacion to prevent her from being released on bail.
Yung iba hindi nag-file. The moment kasi ibang tao kasi ayaw na maistorbo Yung iba, nung na-recover ang sakyan, hindi na rin nag-file. Kaya unfortunately, we are having a hard time consolidating the cases. And we are calling on the complainant to come up as a team. We will file syndicated estafa para mas matibay.
Ma'am, ko kayo. Pag right time ako magsasagot. Pero ma'am ngayon, lahat this time, hindi ako tatabak sa inyo. At andito ako para harapin ko lahat ang allegations sa akin. Okay? Enough.
Authorities are also urging car rental owners to provide drivers and to install global positioning system to track their vehicle's location. Leah Ilagan, UNTV, News and Rescue, Camp-Crame.
And for the news abroad, here's Kath Tumaraos live from Bangkok, Thailand. Kath, good evening.
Good evening, William. Japan believes that North Korea still poses a dire threat to its security despite a halt to ballistic missile tests and a pledge by leader Kim Jong-un to denuclearize the Korean peninsula. In the annual white paper published on Tuesday, Japan's Defense Minister Itsunori Onodera said the threat remains because of the deployment of several hundred missiles still capable to reaching Japan from North Korea, even after a Singapore meeting between U.S. President Donald Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un seemed to lead to a détente. Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe has said since the Singapore meeting that his country would not change its military stance towards its belligerent neighbor until it saw concrete, irreversible, and verifiable steps towards disarmament. UN investigators are calling for prosecution on some of Myanmar's top military officials in a fact-finding mission report they published on the brutal Rohingya crackdown. Meanwhile, Facebook shuts down the account of a top Myanmar military official in relation to the operation. This report tells us why.
Myanmar's military carried out mass killings and gang rapes of Muslim Rohingya with genocidal intent, and the commander-in-chief and 5 generals should be prosecuted for orchestrating the gravest crimes under law, UN investigators said on Monday. The civilian government led by Aung San Suu Kyi has allowed hate speech to thrive, destroyed documents, and failed to protect minorities from crimes against humanity and war crimes by the army in Rakhine, Kachin, and Shan states, they said in a report. At a news conference for the publication of the report, a member of the fact-finding mission on Myanmar, Christopher Sidoti, said the mission concluded that prosecution is warranted in relation to genocide, crimes against humanity, and war crimes. The UN panel, led by former Indonesian Attorney General Marzuki Darusman, named the Myanmar's Army's Commander-in-Chief, Senior General Min Aung Hlaing, and 5 other generals who should face justice. They included Brigadier General Aung Aung, commander of the 33rd Light Infantry Division, who oversaw operations in the coastal village of Indin, where 10 Rohingya captive boys and men were killed.
Expecting justice and truth from any Myanmar domestic process is simply naive. There is no will and there is no capacity. Yet accountability is essential if Myanmar is to escape a destiny of violence and serious human rights violation. Without accountability, the history of the past half-century will be repeated again and again.
A year ago, government troops led a brutal crackdown in Myanmar's Rakhine State in response to attacks by the Arakan Rohingya Salvation Army on 30 Myanmar police posts and a military base. Some 700,000 Rohingya fled the crackdown, and most are now living in refugee camps in neighboring Bangladesh. Meanwhile, Facebook said on Monday that it was removing certain Myanmar military officials from the social media website and Instagram to prevent the spread of hate and misinformation after reviewing the content. Kat Dumaraos, UNTV News and Rescue, Southeast Asia.
The International Court of Justice has advised the U.S. government to respect the outcome of the hearing. It began on the complaint against the sanction it imposed on Iran. Jovic Burmas tells us why.
Iranian lawyers asked the International Court of Justice on Monday to order the United States to lift sanctions imposed by the Trump administration against Iran. The presiding judge of the UN body, informally known as the World Court, began the hearing by calling on Washington to respect its outcome. During their decades of animosity, both the United States and Iran have ignored some rulings at the court. Mohsen Mohebi, representing Iran, said at the start of 4 days of oral hearings that Iran had sought a diplomatic solution to the country's dispute but was rejected.
Mr. President, the case at hand is in fact very simple, because the United States is publicly propagating a policy intended to damage as severely as possible Iran's economy and Iranian nationals and companies, and therefore inevitably Iranian nationals, of course. This policy is plainly in violation of 1955 Treaty of Amity.
The United States said in an initial written reaction displayed in court that it believes the ICJ has no jurisdiction in the case and that Iran's assertions fall outside the bounds of the treaty. U.S. lawyers led by State Department advisor Jennifer Newstead, appointed by Trump in 2017, are due to respond on Tuesday. A ruling is expected within a month, though no date has been set. Jovic Burmas, UNTV News and Rescue, Europe.
The United States and Mexico has sealed the North American Free Trade Agreement, or NAFTA. Mexican foreign officials say this deal is independent and will move forward with or without Canada. Aaron Romero tells us why.
Speaking at their country's embassy in Washington, D.C. on Monday, Mexican officials addressed the agreement between the United States and Mexico to overhaul the North American Free Trade Agreement and said the deal would move forward with or without Canada as a part of the three-nation pact.
There will be a free trade agreement between Mexico and the United States, independent of what happens with the negotiation with Canada.
Negotiations between the three trade partners have dragged on for more than a year, putting pressure on the Mexican peso and the Canadian dollar. Both gained against the dollar after Monday's announcement. The political stakes are high for all three countries. U.S. President Donald Trump and Republicans in the U.S. Congress, up for re-election in November, want to ensure farmers and other voters whose jobs depend on trade with Canada and Mexico that the deal is sealed. Mexican President Enrique Peña Nieto wants to sign the agreement before leaving office at the end of November. And Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau faces a national election expected by October 2019. Canada plans to continue to negotiate, but would only sign a new agreement that is good for the country, a spokesman for Canadian Foreign Minister Chrystia Freeland said. Freeland is expected to travel to Washington for talks on Tuesday. Officials hope Canada will agree to the terms by Friday, when the White House plans to formally notify Congress that Trump will sign the deal in 90 days. Congress has to approve it. Aaron Romero, UNTV News and Rescue, USA.
And those are the news from the other parts of the globe. Back to you, William.
Thank you very much, Kath Dumaraos, live from Bangkok, Thailand. A company in Japan takes its automatic taxi out for a test drive ahead of 2020 Tokyo Olympics. Asher Kadapan Jr. tells us why.
This family in Japan is about to have the ride of their life, except they won't be driving themselves and neither is their chauffeur driving them. They're traveling in a robot taxi.
It was just like a normal taxi, just sitting there. I would have forgotten it was an automatic. The car itself looks just like a normal one.
The model has been created by robotics developer ZMP, which has been working with Japanese taxi firm Hinomaru.
We wanted to help those who don't have transportation. We want people without access to public transportation to have easier access. So this was the idea behind our vision for the automatic taxi.
The company's aim is to get the automatic taxis on the streets of Tokyo by the start of 2020 Olympics. The city's taxi industry is already stressed with unprecedented levels of tourism and an aging population. The average age of Tokyo's taxi drivers is almost 60, and there is a shortage of suitable drivers according to Hinomaru. Robot taxis could solve that issue, but it's not without its faults. The 4.8-kilometer test drive was not completely automatic and still needed a driver to control the wheel on some parts of the route. Asher Kadapan Jr., UNTV News and Rescue.
Weightlifter Heidelin Diaz arrives home after successful campaign in Asian Games. JL Asayo is at the NAIA Terminal 2 to tell us why live. Yes, JL, good evening.
Flight PR 540, Asian Games gold medalist Heidelin Diaz has finally arrived from the recently concluded 2018 Asian Games in Indonesia. Although the flight was delayed for an hour, Diaz is excited and proud to bring home the gold medal she won during the Asian Games. Aside from the gold medal, Heidelin will be receiving around 6 million pesos from the government, the Philippine Olympic Committee, Siklab Foundation, and Philippine Ambassador to Indonesia, Lee Hong. Prior to the tournament, Heidelin felt so much pressure to the point that she cried and just chose to let it go and prayed really hard so that she can get back to her focus on the game. Although there's no specific diet that Diaz is following, she's been supervised by her nutritionist to maintain the healthy food and balance she's been having. It was pure hard work and grit that kept the Philippine weightlifting star stay on top. She also shared that she missed her favorite food like pizza, cheesecake, milk tea, coffee drinks, Japanese and Korean food. And now that she's back, she can finally enjoy having this with her most missed friends, families, especially her boyfriend who is also a weightlifter. Also late this afternoon, Yuko Saso, Bianca Panganiban and Keigo arrived from Indonesia. These three Filipina golfers joined the ranks of modern-day heroes as they brought home 2 more gold medals. In addition, the Philippines also won 12 bronze medals. On August 30, Heidelin will go back to school on her second year in the Master of Business Management program. Once she graduates, Heidelin plans to put up a business, and one of her choices is coffee shop. Those are the latest here at NAIA Terminal 2. Back to you, William.
Thank you very much. JL Asayo live from NAIA Terminal 2. A restaurant in Brooklyn, New York is offering culinary training for refugees and human trafficking survivors. Leslie Longbowen tells us why.
Refugees are welcome here, says a Brooklyn restaurant, which is also an 8-week training course that teaches refugees and human trafficking survivors the basics of cooking and serves up dishes made by its students.
Food's universal, and that my memories of cooking with my mother and grandmother here in Potomac, Maryland, are not that different than somebody's memories of cooking with their grandmothers in Burkina Faso, and that could really be used as a tool to promote social change.
The restaurant started as a pop-up in 2017 after Brody realized there was no establishment for refugees like the one she had been mulling over for years. She quit her job as a global press secretary for Human Rights Campaign, graduated from the Institute of Culinary Education, where she teamed up with Chef Alexander Harris. They created an 8-week program for up to 10 students that combines an English language course with culinary training for a locally sourced seasonal American menu with fare like charged corn cavatelli, grilled branzino, and a braised beef brisket.
So many of our students are women who've never been given any opportunity to learn at all or to work outside the home. And they come here and they're told, you stand on your own 2 feet. We're here to support you, but this is your journey and your investment in yourself. And watching them make that shift mentally and make that shift in confidence is incredible.
Nearly all of the students in Brody's program have gone on to find careers in the restaurant industry. A class was recently filled with students from Haiti, Central African Republic, Guinea, Jamaica, and Honduras.
Learning particular techniques. It's always amazing and it's always different from person to person to person. To get those surprises in that person where day one you were like, I don't know, to, graduation and you say, this person is everything that I would have hoped, a cook could be.
Leslie Lomboan, UNTV News and Rescue.
And those are the reasons behind the news. August 28, 2018. On behalf of Rheena, Villamor-Camara, and Angelo Castro III, I am Thio. Because we need to know, we will always ask why. Good evening.